language. I'm a very champo, you call it. Huh? So, but English is my means of communication. I've never learned Chinese. I wish I learned Chinese. So, and I did my bachelor degree in Loma Linda University as a microbiologist. Then I did my master's in Dominguez Hill, Cal States, and was registered as American Society of Clinical Pathologists. So I do a lot of research, I do a lot of testings, and I work in the lab for more than 45 to 50 years. Okay, you can see that my Chinese name is called Chen Wenfeng. That's the only Chinese I can write. Don't ask me to write any more Chinese. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put something here, disclaimer. It's called here is, what I'm going to share with you, the information you're about to receive is not intended to replace medical advice or treatment. If you have any question about symptom and medication, general or specific, you should consult with your physician. Why do we do that? Because if you were to read any books by the 7 doctors that I mentioned this morning, Dr. Furman, Dr. Joe, Elsenstein, Campbell, when they sell the book at the beginning, they always put this. Because when you go on this special diet called plant-based nutrition or plant-based diet, whole food, your results is going to go south. The side effect when you go on a plant-based diet is you're going to lose weight. There's no question about it. Everyone that went through the program, they lose weight. Why? Because plant-based diet is very high in nutrients and vitamins, but has almost 0 calories. So when you eat something that is, you can be full, you feel good, but you don't put on weight at all. You actually lose weight, okay? So when you not only lose weight, if you are on any medication like high blood pressure medication, your high blood pressure number is going to go down. So if you go on a nutrition, plant-based nutrition, your high blood pressure is going to go down, and you take medication, you're going to go further down. So you need to consult with your doctors. Say that, hey, doctor, I'm on this medication that you have prescribed for me, but I've decided to be a vegetarian because I want to be healthy. Then he will probably adjust your medication. Because we have people that come to our meeting that without consulting the doctor, their blood pressure dropped so low, actually they fainted. Okay? So make sure you consult your doctors what you want to do. I go around educating people. These are the 4 topics that I have. Say yes to no. You need an oil change. Failing vegetarian and vegan diet. And G-bombs. There is a presentation that I do. Even a vegetarian, a vegan person can have a heart attack because something is missing in the diet, okay? Which I'm not going to focus today. Today I'm going to focus on the 3 ingredients that we eat, which is very addictive and it's also very toxic. It's called SOS, sugar, oil, and salt, okay? SOS, SOS, sugar, oil, and salt. Okay. And all of these 3 ingredients, I'm going to focus on oil today. So we all need an oil change, right? Time for an oil change. Friends, we take so good care of our material things. How many of you own cars? We all own cars, right? People own Mercedes, BMW, or Lexus. Every 5,000 miles, we send it to the maintenance to take good care of it. We take such a good care of a car to change oil, but we're not taking care of this body that God has given you and me, right? We just throw everything we want inside, without thinking. And so if we are taking so much time and care on our material things, don't you think that we need to take care of ourselves? God has given us this body. We should be good stewards. In the past, I always joke around with my friend that when I walk, anything that moves slower than me, they're gone. I eat everything. I eat a lot of meaty stuff. And not only meaty stuff, I eat a lot of fatty stuff too. So we're going to talk about oil this afternoon. Now, we're all believers, we're all Seventh-day Adventists. The Seventh-day Adventist Church recognizes the autonomy of each individual and his or her God-given power of choice. God has given you a choice. God has given Adam and Eve a choice. Rather than mandating standard of behavior, Adventists call upon each one another to live as positive examples of God's love and care. Part of that example includes taking care of our health. We believe God calls us to be good stewards to care for our body, treating them with respect a divine creation deserves. Okay? So, what I'm going to share with you is not that you must do compulsory, it's your choice. And that's what happened anytime when God gives us a choice, disobedience comes in. Disobedience comes in. Okay? So, listen to it, and the choice is yours. I mentioned this to you this morning. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, do not eat any of the fat of cattle, sheep, or goats. Most of the time when we talk about food, we are so ingrained in my early Adventist life is don't eat pork, don't eat this, don't eat that. But Bible has told us right at the beginning of creation, what's the fat that we eat. And I was not paying attention to that. Both animal fats and vegetable oil has 9 calories per gram. That's standard. Whether it's olive oil, vegetable oil, animal oil, is 9 calories per gram. Okay? And we consume a lot of fat because if you eat a piece of meat, you see the white portion, that is actually fat and cholesterol. Okay? Then you eat your salad, you put olive oil or whatever, that's oil too, that's fat. And then you eat pastry. Pastry is made of what? Butter, egg yolk, that's fat there too. So actually one whole day you can consume more than 10 to 15 grams of fat. And so just remember, 1 gram of oil is 9 calories. Do you know how much is 1 gram? It's not very much. Not very much. Just to give you example, 1 teaspoon of sugar is 4 grams. 4 grams, okay? So, all right. And 1 tablespoon of oil or 1 tablespoon of fat is 13.5 grams. That's a lot. And 1 tablespoon of oil is equivalent to 120 calories. That's a lot of oil. Okay? So don't forget, if you eat 1 tablespoon of a steak, that's 120 calories. Then you eat your salad, you think, oh, olive oil is good. You put 2 tablespoons, that's another 240 calories. So you can actually eat oil, just oil alone, almost 500 calories. So you need to watch oil. When we talk about oil, most of the time in the back of our mind, we always think about the fat comes from meat. There's a lot of hidden oil, which I'm going to show you afterward. There are good oil, there are bad oil. And I'm going to show you how to select the oil that you need to eat. If you eat a lot of meat, that's fatty stuff, you eat oil, you all become obese. And that's what happened to me. Because I used to eat a lot of hamburgers and all those, I was really obese. You know, my abdominal stomach was actually protruding out. I cannot actually see my toes. I cannot see my toes. And when I try to hug my wife, my tummy touched her first before my face touched her. And she had a hard time hugging me. And when I used to drive my car, the steering wheel is actually touching my tummy. And I love to eat donuts. And so when I eat donut, I can put my donut on my tummy while still driving. That's how fat I was. But unfortunately, all my friends knew I was fat, but nobody tell me what I need to do. Okay. So By eating a lot of fat, I guarantee, because fat has no nutrition value, all it does is high calorie is going to make you fat. There's no question about that. Fat are essential in our body, just like oil are essential to a car to make things go smoothly, lubricants, okay? Because fat give us energy, storage in our body, and there's two kinds of fat that we need to pay attention. It's called omega-6 and omega-3. How many of you have heard omega-3 and 6? Not too many, right? Okay. Yeah, I have not heard about omega-3 and omega-6 until my heart attack episode when I started reading all these books, and these two oil has been jumping out at me all the time. So I spend a lot of time to try and understand these two oils. Omega-3 versus omega-6 property. Where do we get omega-3? Most of the time when we think about omega-3 oil, we think about fish. Fish, right? And for those who are vegan, for those who are vegetarian that don't want to eat fish, you still can find omega-3. You can find actually omega-3 in all green vegetables, but they're not very high percentage. But if you want to eat, to be a vegetarian, you don't want to eat fish, you can find flax seeds is very high in omega-3. Hemp seed, chia seed, walnut, soy, greens, these are all rich in omega-3. Now, omega-3 fats in our system is called anti-inflammatory, because anytime you injure yourself, omega-3 will help to heal. Omega-6, on the other hand, is called pro-inflammatory. Omega-6 likes to make you get into trouble. And the ratio that we must eat omega-3 and omega-6 is 1 to 4. You can eat 4 parts of omega-6 and 1 part of omega-3, you are okay. Isn't that wonderful that God makes that, provide that? Because it's only recently in the 1900s, the scientists just figured it out. Omega-3 and 6, you can take 1 part and 4 part. God knows that we're going to eat more omega-6 oil than omega-3. So, unfortunately, we find omega-6 oil in almost all the food that we have on the shelf. And I'm going to help you recognize what are those. All right. I work in a clinical lab. I see blood every day, test tube of blood. The one on your left side, you see is very cloudy, and the one on the right side is very clear. If you eat a very fatty meal, like a piece of hamburger, after 1 hour, you draw your blood and look at the serum, it's going to be very cloudy. Those are all triglycerides. They're just floating there. Those are all no good fat. But if you eat a non-fatty food, your serum will be clear. And they have studies to prove that. After a meal on Big Macs, you can see that your serum become cloudy. So we don't want that. Sugar, oil, and salt. So these are the food that we need to stay away as much as you can. And if you cannot stay away from them, try and minimize the intake as much as you can. And what are those food? I love donuts. Maple bar is my donuts. I can eat 2 in one shot. And you eat 1 donut, maple bar, is 350 calories. And to burn the 350 calories, you have to walk 3 miles. So if you eat 2 donuts, you've got to walk 6 miles. 6 miles. So you can see that we have oil, we have crackers, all the stuff there that we have, all the fried stuff, they're all very rich in sugar, oil, or salt. Okay? The fast food industry, they know that we as a human being consumer, we love food that have these 3 ingredients. They always come up with high salt, high sugar, and how oil, because it tastes good. Now, when we eat food, most of the time when we look for food, we always ask the first question. When somebody go to a restaurant or somebody go to find something else, they come back, hey, this place selling this, it tastes so good, right? Do you ever hear somebody say, hey, this place sell this thing, it tastes so healthy? When the word healthy is there, you stay away, right? When it's good, where, I want to go, right? So, friends, if you allow yourself 3 weeks, stay away from these 3 ingredients, you will find your taste bud will change. 3 weeks. Those that have attended Dr. Dahan's deals and my program earlier this year, and most of them come and tell us the taste bud change. Today you can give me a plate of salad, all I did is just squeeze a lemon. That's it. Like this morning I make scrambled eggs. I'm not supposed to eat eggs. I make scrambled eggs. But I make my scrambled eggs out of tofu. Have you heard of scrambled eggs made of tofu? Yeah? Okay, like it? Okay, good. What I did was I take the tofu and I put on my pot and I cook my tofu with no oil. I just smash it up. You smash it up and then you put turmeric. You put turmeric, it looks like yellow. And you can put some onions, you can put bell pepper. Okay, and I don't put salt. Yeah, no salt. You eventually you develop the taste. But if you want salt, put just a pinch of it for your taste. You want to put salt on your food, but not on your cooking food. That way you can control the amount of salt you put in. So I made my tofu scrambled egg this morning. I eat with my bread. And the bread that I eat is called Ezekiel bread. Ezekiel bread. They're very good. So stay away from all these 3 ingredients, sugar, oil, and salt. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about fat. There are 3 different kinds of fat. You have what you call the saturated fat, the monounsaturated, and the polyunsaturated. What does that mean? When I first read this, for me working in the medical field, I have a hard time understanding, but I read again and again. Finally, I got it. Okay. There are 3 kinds of fat: saturated, mono, and poly. Mono means one, poly means more. Saturated fat. Saturated fat stored at room temperature. These fats are often considered bad fat. So anything that you buy from the store, if they say there's a saturated fat 10% or more, stay away from it. These are considered bad fat, and animal products are the main source of saturated fat in our Western diet. You see, this piece of meat that you have a lot of white stuff, those are called actually fat or cholesterol, and these are saturated fat. They are room temperature, they are solid. Okay? So you don't want to eat that, and stay away as much as you can. Now, how many of you have heard of Kobe beef? Kobe beef? Good. Kobe beefs are not cheap, they're very expensive. You know how they raise Kobe beef? Kobe cow? They make those cows listen to classical music. They calm the cow down. They make the cow listen to classical music, and they actually massage the cow. And you find that Kobe beef, their saturated fat are not all in like one big glob over there. They all distribute into the muscle, and we call that the marble effect look. And that's why one piece of Kobe beef, I think half of this can cost about $100. I used to eat that before. I mean, I don't pay for it. Somebody pay for it. It's free, I eat it. So, but that's the wrong stuff to eat. So, saturated fat. So remember, stay away from saturated fat as much as you can. Monounsaturated fat are generally liquid at room temperature and semi-solid when you put in the refrigerator. These are generally considered good fat. They are beneficial to the health and can protect against any chronic diseases, especially heart. And what is monounsaturated fat? Anybody can name one of those? Everybody loves to eat, to have this kind of fat. Olive oil. Okay? There's a doctor out there tell you don't even take olive oil. But if you want to eat any kind of oil, this is a good one. All right, saturated fat. What is saturated fat? Coconut oil is no good. Oh, good. Couple of O's here. You remember earlier I said no saturated fat in your system at all? Coconut oil is 80% of the oil is saturated fat. 80%. Okay? Palm kernel oil and palm oil, they have 85 and 51%. So stay away from saturated fat. Because they are solid at room temperature. If you drink coconut oil in your cooking or whatever, same like, we Malaysian, Indonesian, we love to cook curry. And when we cook curry, we usually love to use the coconut milk, and there's a lot of saturated oil in there. You can use alternative oil, but don't use coconut oil. Of course, it don't taste good. Right? So that's the two most oil that we must stay away as much as you can. Now, I used to have cooked curry a lot in my house. I used to use a lot of coconut oil, can of that. But now I will cook maybe once a quarter for my friend. They request, I cook for them. I educate them, that's no good, but they want. See, I say I'm the cook at home. When I cook at home, doesn't mean I don't eat it, doesn't mean my friend cannot eat it. If they request, I'll cook for them. Because I want them to be my friend. I want them to come to my house. Okay? So, saturated fat. All right, we talk about mono unsaturated fat. Now we're going to touch a bit on polyunsaturated fat. They are liquid at room temperature and also refrigerated. And when they replace saturated fat and trans fat in the diet, a drop in cholesterol level occur. And the essential fatty fat is called omega-6 and omega-3. So we talk about saturated fat, we talk about monounsaturated fat, and we talk about polyunsaturated fat. So for these three fats that we talk about, all you have to remember is, remember the omega-3 and omega-6. Those are the two good fat, and those are the two magic fat that you want to eat as much as you can. All right, nuts. When we talk about fat, we always think fat is come from meat. If I don't eat meat, I should be okay. Friends, there's so many hidden fats all over your counter that we are not aware of. Peanuts. We love peanuts, right? How many of you love peanuts? Yeah, I love peanuts. And how much peanut do you eat at one time? Maybe half a bag, right? Yeah. My recommendation, if you really like to eat peanuts, you should not eat more than 5 a day. 5 peanuts. 5 peanuts. Because look at this here. You say omega-6 and omega-3 ratio. Peanut has a very high omega-6. They can't even detect. I mean, it's so high that they can't show the number. Okay? And look at almond nuts. Okay? Look at sunflower seed. Now, remember I was telling you the ratio of omega-3 and omega-6 is 4:1, right? So which of these nuts is good here? Which of these nuts is good? Walnut. See, walnut is 4.2 to 1. Macadamia nut is 6.3. Then from the rest downward, it's getting higher and higher. This is the reason why a vegan and a vegetarian people who love to eat nuts still can result to have a heart attack. Because they do not know the ratio. Look at sunflower seeds, 472 omega-6 to 1. Okay. All right, oil. Yes, sunflower, corn, cottonseed, sesame, peanut, soybean, canola, walnut, flaxseed, and fish. Look at the omega-3. The only oil that you can eat that has high in omega-3 is fish and flax seeds and a little bit of walnut. The rest are all no good. The rest are all rich in omega-6. Now, if you were to go to a supermarket today, if you get a chance, the next time you go to the supermarket, what I want you to do is look at the packages and then look at the labels, look at the ingredients. Look at the ingredients. Almost every packages, the oil they use is either safflower, sunflower, or canola oil. Most of the time, or corn oil. So what you want to do is, when you see the high content of this oil in that label, put it back and don't touch it. What is that? Grapeseed oil should be okay. Yeah. Okay. A couple of months ago, in my church, we have a nutritionist talking to me. And we discussed about oil. And I told her that I do not add oil system into my body because I need to stay away from oil. And she said, no, that's not right. That's not good. No, we do not need external oil. Our body produces cholesterol. Our body, livers produce oil. And the vegetables that we eat, vegetable has oil too. Okay? So we do not need external. See, for my case, I have this disease called arteriosclerosis. My artery is 99% that's blocked. They put a stent in there to open it up. Now, if I'm not watching the oil that I'm eating, that plaque can come back in again. I have a friend. I just heard the news last night. I think he must be in late 50s. He had 2 open heart surgery, bypass. And the second time when I visited him, he was on the bed in the hospital. I went there during mealtime. I was feeding him. And the plate of meal, the meal came in. There was green beans, mashed potato, and a piece of meat, steaks. Now, this friend of mine has a bypass just done. So I asked him, what do you want to eat first? Guess what he told me? I want the beef. I said, don't you want to start the vegetable? No. He told me I can eat the vegetables and he eat the beef. Just yesterday, I found out from a friend of mine, he just passed away. It's very sad. And I have another friend. He's 70 years old. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I went to a potluck, and we were talking, and he was watching what I eat, and he then told me the story about. He said many years ago, he had a heart attack. He had 5 stents put into his heart. 5. And I said, why are you still eating all this chicken? Then he told me again, he said, before I tell you why I eat all those chicken, he said, a few years back, I had a quadruple bypass. So his heart artery is a mess. But I said, then why are you still eating the meat? He told me, brother, the Bible told me that, he said, if we can live 70, how many years is that? 70, 70 years. Okay? He said, I'm 70 now, he told me. He said, every morning that I wake up is a bonus. God give me another day. But I said, don't you learn from it that you should eat better? He said, well, he says he's ready to go anytime. To me, I think that's very selfish. To his family and to God. He said, every morning when I wake up, I can walk. It's a bonus to me. I said, well, brother, that's your choice. If you like to live that way, then I will pray for you. Okay? So people are not willing to change because they enjoy the taste of the food. So for my case, I have to watch carefully. I should not add any more external oil into my system. If I don't do that, I can have another heart attack. Next one is called trans fat. How many of you know what's trans fat? Trans fat is actually what they do is a vegetable oil, they add another hydrogen into the oil to make trans fat, and trans fat will preserve the oil and the food a bit longer. And this is another fat that you must stay away. When you see the word trans fat in the label, put the food back in there. Trans fat are produced when liquid oil are hydrogenated to form a solid, stable fat. This fat was developed to improve shelf life of food, increasing melting point of fat, good for deep frying, and permit high temperature cooking. This fat appears to be 4 times as damaging as saturated fatty acid. 90% of trans fat come from hydrogenated fat in processed and fried food, and 10% come from the meat and dairy products. Our most concentrated source are margarine. Where do we find trans fat? Margarine. Shortening. Crackers that we eat. Cookies that we eat. Granola bars. Cheap snack food and deep fried food. As many of these food contain eggs and dairy products, they are excluded from palm-based. Do you know why they call shortening? It shortens your life. That's why it's called shortening. You eat this, your life will be shortened. So, read the labels. When you read the labels, not only look at the numbers, look at the ingredients. One time I went to Costco. I was looking for lentil soup. Soup products is better to prepare your own, because you buy any soup product that is can-made, it's very high sodium. So when I was passing by the food section, the sample, this lady said, it's very healthy, come and taste, da da da. I went there, I tasted a little bit, oh, it's good. So I said, can I look at the label? And when I read the label, they use butter in it. So that's no good, okay? Huh? But butter is not good. Okay. All right. To summarize, you have saturated fat. And what are saturated fat? You have animal fat, coconut oil, palm kernel oil, palm oil. On this side, you have monounsaturated. You have nuts, avocado, olive oil, canola oil. Then in the middle, you have the polyunsaturated. The omega-3 are your dark leafy greens, vegetables, walnuts, hemp seed, flaxseed, and flaxseed oil. And the omega-6 are your cottonseed oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, and sunflower oil. That safflower and sunflower, I can guarantee you, you go and look at the labels, it's always there. It's bad. Saturated oil is bad. Monounsaturated is good. Omega-3 is great. Omega-6 is not so great. Okay? Now, if you say to yourself, you say, oh, I just ate 1 box of cookie, that should be okay. But don't forget, the whole day you have cookies, you have cakes, you have this, you have that, all processed food. They use sunflower and safflower. Then your ratio 4:1 is going to go up. Right? So you have to watch your intake. Now, for my case, I cannot even take avocados. I cannot even take nuts. I steal nuts once in a while. I mentioned to you, if you want to eat nuts, you should not eat more than 5 pieces a day. I cannot eat avocados because avocado, even though it's a monounsaturated fat, avocados do have certain amount of saturated fat in it. Yeah, saturated fat. So for my case, as a heart patient, I must stay away from avocados. And the way to help me to figure out what I can eat and what I cannot eat, this is what Dr. Esselstyn said. Now, how many of you, let me see a show of hand. How many of you have your last blood test done to know what is your cholesterol? Okay? Now, when I talk to people, what's your cholesterol? They tell me, it's okay, borderline. That doesn't mean anything at all. Right? You need to know the number. Okay? Now, 2.5 years ago, when I was not paying attention, my cholesterol was 241. But according to American Heart Association, your cholesterol must be less than 240. 240. But if your cholesterol is between 199 to 20, then you need to seek help. You need to do something about it. Okay? So you need to know your cholesterol. It's very important. Okay, this is an artery. It says our body produces cholesterol. We do not need to take outside cholesterol into our system. Cholesterol is a white, waxy substance that is not found in plant, only in animals. It is essential components of the membrane that coats all our cells and is the basic ingredient for sex hormone. Cholesterol is made in the liver. Our body needs cholesterol and they manufacture it on their own. We do not need to eat it, but we do. When we consume meat, poultry, fish, and other animal-based, such as dairy products and eggs. So when I was diagnosed with arteriosclerosis, and when I read Dr. Elsenstein's book that taught me how I need to protect myself from having another heart attack. And the way he wrote in the book to remind me, he says, anything that has a mother and a face, don't touch. Anything that has a mother, and a face, don't touch. So as a cow has a face, don't touch. As a fish has a face, don't touch. So when I go and eat, when I go to a restaurant to eat, if they have chicken there, the eggs has a mother, right? So don't touch. I will explain to you why you cannot eat eggs afterward. Okay? Now, it's because the reason that we like to eat all these food because we were raised eating this food. We were not taught not to eat them. Right? So now, when we reach this certain age, we need to relearn. When I first became a vegetarian, I don't complain. My wife was complaining because he said, okay, now the cook is going to cook all vegetarian stuff. I have to eat what she cooked. So, friends, we need to relearn. And I told my wife, I said, when I had my heart attack at the age of 68, I said, well, for 65 years, I've eaten all the things I want to eat. For the rest of my life, from here to where Lord's allowed me to live, I want to try something different. Something that tastes different. And I should discover the food that I never tasted before. So, it's very important that if you want to do your lifestyle change, your thinking has to be positive thinking too. You must be a positive attitude. I remove all negative words in my vocab. I don't use the word I cannot. I'll say I'll try. Yeah, you try. Like prodigal son, right? He got the inheritance. He went and then finally he realized that he made a mistake. He tried to come back. So cholesterol is bad. Eating fat causes the body itself to manufacture excessive amount of fat, cholesterol. Our body produces cholesterol. We eat all this saturated fat that has high cholesterol, so you just you just increase the amount of cholesterol in your system. Which explains why vegetarians who eat oil, butter, cheese, milk, ice cream, glaze, donuts, and French pastry develop coronary disease. Don't eat ice cream. Aren't you glad you come to the meeting? So when I first became a vegetarian, quite a number of my friends, they teased me. Quite a number of my friends, they teased me. They say, okay, here comes the cow. We need to find grass for him. But it's of good humor. That's okay. I don't feel offended. Okay, blood cholesterol. Dr. Elsenstein said that if you want to protect yourself from experiencing an episode of a stroke or heart attack, your blood cholesterol must be below 150. 150. I told you that my cholesterol was 241. At the first few months, the cardiologist prescribed me Lipitor. And when I took the Lipitor medication, between 2 weeks, my cholesterol level from 241 drops all the way to 80. That's good. That's good, right? But, there's a but. But my artery has already built up all this plaque for the last 60 over years. So I cannot afford to eat any more fat because it's going to build up again, right? I'm not eating anything to dissolve the plaque. So Dr. Esselstyn says, if you want to stay away from having a second heart attack, you must eat the food that will not build cholesterol. And in order to do that, your total cholesterol must be below 150. When I was discharged from the hospital, I was on 6 medication. I've been on plant-based diet for 2.5 years now. Today, my total cholesterol is 110 without taking any medication. It's okay to take medication for a while to knock down everything so that you don't pile up, okay? But to take Lipitor drugs, just like, for instance, if I want to go out tonight to eat barbecue beef, I pop in a pill. That's not going to help. Your plaque is whatever is there is going to be there. All right? So by taking drugs is a false security for yourself. The average cholesterol level for American is 210. American Heart Association recommend if your cholesterol is less than 200, you're okay. That is a false claim, so be careful. Okay, this is Dr. Esselstyn's. The ideal is cholesterol has to be below 150, LDL is supposed to be below 80. Now, when I had my heart attack, my LDL was 210, 210. Today, without medication, my LDL is around like 60. It can be done, okay? So if any of your numbers is more than 160 or 180, please see your doctor, get professional help, and get recommendation. And if they will suggest you to take medication, medication has side effect, right? We all know that, right? When I was discharged, I was on 6 medication, and all those 6 medication that I took, when I read the side effect, GI bleeding, GI bleeding, GI bleeding. 6 medication all have GI bleeding. When I took the medication for 4 weeks, guess what happened to me? There was one evening I went to Loma Linda University Church, listened to Dr. Joy Foreman presentation, and on my way back from the church to the parking lot, walking with my wife, past the Loma Linda emergency room, and guess what? I fainted right there. Because I met a friend, she passed by and says, Terence, you remember me? Either her face scares me, I fainted. The next thing I open my eyes, there's 3 pair of eyes looking at me. She ran to the ER, put me on a wheelchair, rushed me in. They thought I have another heart attack. So the emergency room reassessed me, checked for my heart. Everything was normal. I was in the ER from 6:30 p.m. I didn't get moved into a room until 1 o'clock in the morning. Slept there. At 4 o'clock, I have a bad diarrhea, and my stool was totally black. What does that mean? Bleeding. Those 6 medications told me GI bleeding, GI bleeding, GI bleeding, and I got GI bleeding. So I told the doctor, I do not want to take medication anymore. So the next day, they did endoscopy on me. They sure enough, they found in my stomach, there's an ulcer as big as my thumb. They can see a vein dripping water. So they cauterized it, and I decided to minimize my medication. So avoid medication as much as you can and find the natural remedy. All right, cholesterol content in food. Those of you who like to eat egg yolk, 1 egg yolk is 220 milligrams of cholesterol. You can't afford to do that. When I was growing as a young kid, my mother used to love to feed me cow's liver. Cow liver is very rich in iron, and you eat one liver, 3 ounces is 370. And look at fish, shrimp, cheese, ice cream. You eat, the Chinese people, when we wake up in the morning, when we eat breakfast, we love to have two eggs soft boiled, and there's 2 yolks. 2 yolks is already 440 milligrams of cholesterol. Okay? Now, all this information you can get from the public information. If you Google Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Joe Furman, you can get all the information. This is almost the same as the other one, the other slide. Saturated fat in food. Look at that. Coconut oil is 80% saturated fat. Milk and cheese has 66%. Meat has 50%. High plant-based food has only 5 to 20%. Daily product. How many of you like cheese? Don't be shy. Put up your hand. Put up your hand. Okay. We all love cheese. But I want to tell you a secret. The cheese don't love you. The cheese love you to eat them as much as possible. And I just found that out last night. Where does cheese come from? From the cow, right? From the milk of the cow, right? Why are we human beings drinking milk? God made milk for the mother cow, for the mother human being to feed our young babies. Okay? Have you seen an adult cow drink milk from another adult cow? No, you don't do that. It's only human adult drink milk from a cow. Correct. But let me tell you something. Just 2 days ago, I was listening to a person who present talking about milk. Do you know that milk that you drink has bacterial contamination? Me being a microbiologist, I understand very well. Same thing like when you go and swim in the ocean, there's certain amount of bacteria. If the count is below a certain level, public health says it's okay to swim, right? But cow milk has 250 count of white blood cells. Probably haven't hit you yet. Let me tell you this. When I was a young boy, I told you about eating chicken blood, right? Until when I went to professional lab school, look under the microscope, I said, my goodness, I'm eating all those red cells. Friends, if you drink milk, you are eating white blood cells. You know what's white blood cells? What's the purpose of white blood cells? God created white blood cells in the body. If we have any injured, something that's cut, the platelets, the one cell called the platelet will rush there to heal it. The white cells will go out there. Is any bacteria present? The white cell will eat the bacteria. And the white cell that we see in our own, in ordinary layman term, what do we call that? We call that pus, right? Nana? Can you imagine when you drink milk, you eat nana? It's very gross, right? Yeah, think about that. And cheese is a process of milk. Cheese is much more concentrated. So a piece of cheese, if you drink a glass of milk, it maybe take 10 cups of milk to make one small cheese. How many nana you have there? How much pus are you drinking? Well, I said, I used to love cheese, but no more. It tells here, there's studies here, it says that if you eat 10 milligrams of cholesterol, whether you eat from the meat or from other products, it will increase your total cholesterol by 2.2 milligrams per hour. That is scientific, So just watch the cholesterol. So if you start eating eggs is one yolk is how much? 220. So that means your cholesterol is going to go up by 4.4. So Just be careful what you're eating. Be a bit more conscientious in the food intake. So this is another study by Harvard. They talk about eggs and cholesterol. The only food that we can eat that has no cholesterol are plant products. Black bean, brown rice, broccoli, sweet potatoes, anything that's green. Anything that's green. You see, even beans, we have saturated fats in it. So we do not need additional saturated. They are out there. God has created all this food for us. There is a reason why He put certain things in His place.
How about black rice?
Black rice is good. Brown rice, red rice. Yeah, except white rice.
How about basmati rice?
Huh? Is basmati original? What is the color? Oh, that is no good. Why white rice is no good, okay? Because when rice, when the rice, you harvest the rice, they're actually brown in color. And when they make it to white rice, they polish it, they remove all the minerals, they remove all the husks. So white rice end up becomes carbohydrate, okay? All the rice, brown rice, black rice, green rice, or whatever rice you have, white rice, they all are carbohydrates. And if you eat brown rice, the carbohydrate that you're eating is called complex carbohydrate. Where the white rice that you eat is called simple carbohydrate. And what does that mean? Complex carbohydrate means before your body can turn the carbohydrate into sugar, brown rice, your body is going to take a couple of steps to do it. But you eat white rice, it's a simple sugar. You eat it, the sugar goes to your bloodstream right away. We call that the glycemic index. Okay. So what you want to eat is that you want to eat food that your body will not absorb those bad things immediately. And that's the reason why we need to eat a lot of plant products, because plant products have one thing in common. Do you know what's in common in plant food? Fiber. Fiber is very important. Because if you eat, let's say if you take your strawberry, you blend it, you make smoothie. The fibers are all gone. So when you drink, you're drinking just sugar water. So, okay. So when you drink sugar water, yeah, your sugar in your system is going to rush to your bloodstream. If you drink a glass of strawberry, you do your blood glucose between 1 hour, you see your blood glucose go up. But if you eat the strawberry as a fruit, it tastes sweet in your tongue, but it takes 3 hours for you to poop it out. But the sugar is still in the fiber. So the sugar does not rush into your bloodstream. Yeah? So fiber is the key to our food, that you do not want all those food that rush into your bloodstream as quickly as possible. Now, our tongue has taste bud, right? Salty, sugar. When we eat food, when we put the food into our mouth, you feel good only for maybe a couple of seconds. Once the food passes the back of your tongue, your body has no idea what you just put in. Whether it's good or it's bad, your body says, oh man, this is good, good. If this is bad, body says, oh, I need to process this, make sure, you are making your body working harder. So fiber is the key to our diet. It's very important. What's that? All right. Most of the time, I mentioned this morning, standard American diet or standard Asian diet, this is what we eat. We eat so much dairy products, animal food, processed food, refined. We don't eat much plant. So today, why we don't want to eat too much processed food? Processed food is, they use a lot of oil, they use a lot of salt. Okay? What is a processed food? Anything that, when you go to the supermarket, anything that has a label, That's processed food. When you go and buy a broccoli, you don't see a label on the broccoli, right? Yeah? So processed food. Let me ask you, is corn a whole food or processed food? Corn. Corn, whole food, right? Is popcorn whole food or processed food? Is corn whole food, right? Is corn cheap? Processed food. So, buy food that is whole. Before we used to call it plant-based nutrition, plant-based diet. Now we add two more words, whole food. You want to eat the food that you can recognize, that you can see as a whole. Huh? Now, oatmeal. Just now we have a discussion with someone about oatmeal. How many of you eat oatmeal? Every morning. I'm going to tell you there's only one kind of oatmeal you need to eat. Now, yes. What I'm sharing with you, all the food that you must eat, I hate to eat others before. I never like to, but I relearn myself. Now, when you want to eat oatmeal, the only recommended oatmeal for you to eat is called steel-cut oats. Don't buy the quick oats, don't buy the roll oats, don't buy the processed, because those are all processed. When they process, you lose the minerals, you lose the vitamin. And what is steel cut? Steel cut is from the grain, just like a rice. They use a stainless steel knife, they cut it into small pieces. So that's easier for the cook. Okay? Now, everybody says, I eat oatmeal every day. Now, my next question is, what do you put into your oatmeal? Milk, okay? So you want to put almond milk, soya milk, you know? Huh? What's that? Okay. Honey, all right. When you put honey, is that raw honey or have to be raw honey? Okay. That's okay, but it depends how much of honey you put in there. Okay? If you put one teaspoon, no, that should be okay. But I would prefer to eat my oatmeal with only plain. I don't even put any milk. A lot of my friends, they love to eat oatmeal with raisin. Now, raisin, you have to watch raisin too. Okay? When you put the raisin, do you buy the raisin as a whole or you buy from the market, come in a box? From the box, right? It tastes good, right? Yeah. So ask yourself this question. It tastes good, then it's no good. If you look, okay, again, read the labels. You know those Sunny Made, Sunshine Made, the small box? That one small box of raisin has 29 grams of sugar. That's too much sugar. 29 grams of sugar, you know how many teaspoons is that? 1 teaspoon is 4 grams. 29 is 7 teaspoons of sugar inside the box. And the box is only so small. So that's no good. Throw it away. If you want sweetness, use dates. Dates. Yeah, huh? Correct. You go to Palm Desert when they sell the fresh fruits, the dried one. Now, when you put those dates into your oatmeal, I have a friend that eat with the oatmeal one small bowl, and he used 6 dates. That's too much. Once is enough. Once enough. Okay. So we are eating too much processed food. We have to watch. Oh, that's no good. No good. Yeah, syrup. Okay, stay away from that. Remember, I showed you this morning about this one here. I can guarantee you, okay, any one of you are 60 and above or 50 and above, if you eat what you're eating, the standard American Asian diet, your artery is about 60% blocked if you are age 45 and above. When I had my heart attack, I take an inventory of all my friends. I take an inventory of all my friends in my church, my friends in my neighborhood, my friend from my home country, friend. I have 32 of my friends all have heart attack. 32 of my friends, almost three-quarters of you here. I know them by name, I know their age, but I say, what is the common denominator? They're all 31 of my friends. We're all 60 and above. The plague will catch up with you. If you don't change something now, it's going to catch up with you. It will. You will move slower than the plague. Now, out of those 31, 4 of them did not make it to the hospital. 4 of them died. Yeah, they did not. And out of those 4 that died, 2 of them is 45 years old. Why is 45 years old don't make it? Okay? When you are 45 years old, your plaque is about 60%. Now, how does heart attack occur? Heart attack occur is that you have your artery, and in your let's say this is your artery, and then you have a plaque sitting here, right? And those 2 45 years old friend of mine, they go to the gym, they run on the treadmill. They did a very intensive treadmill run, and what happened? Your heart is pumping fast, and it's pushing this plaque. And this plaque got broken up, and it flipped this way. It blocks the artery, and blood cannot flow, and they don't get to go to the hospital quick enough. They die. Because when they are 45 years old, they think I'm invisible, I should be okay, and that's what happened. Because I told you, I have 31 friends of mine, all have gone through heart attack, except these 2 45. The rest are all 60 and above. So I will encourage you, go and see a doctor, have a cholesterol check, and if your cholesterol is more than 200, please do something about it. All right. Now, I think this is my last slide. We think about diabetes. What causes diabetes? Too much sugar. Okay, that's a very common. And what kind of food that you eat that have too much sugar? Rice. Okay, well, yeah. Anything that you eat eventually all convert to sugar. Anything else? Not only you eat rice, you take a lot of sugary stuff. Huh? Ice cream, yeah, okay. Huh? That is in our mind. We always think sugar is the culprit. I'm going to tell you something that is a myth. That is not true. And I learned this from Dr. Neil Bernard. You can go and Google you can go YouTube and listen to his about diabetes. He mentioned about diabetes. Glucose does not cause diabetes. It is the yellow stuff. You see the yellow stuff in there? Those are fat. The word they use here called intramyocellular is a fanciful word for the doctor to use, but we laymen call it fat. Why is fat cause diabetes? Okay, let me explain to you. The blue color is a one cell, okay? And the black thing up there is called the sugar or glucose receptor or glucose gate. It's a gate for the glucose to come in. And then on the right-hand side, the red one are the gate or receptor for the insulin to come in. Now, when you eat something that is sweet or convert to sugar right away, your body, pancreas, produce insulin, right? That is a normal reaction. Your body produces insulin. Then insulin goes to work. Insulin here is show you is like a key. Insulin will go to the red receptor or the red gate to unlock the gate. So when insulin goes to the gate to unlock the gate, then the gate will send a signal to the glucose gate that says, now you can open, and sugar comes into the cell. When sugar comes into the cell, it stores there, it becomes energy. Make sense? So far, so good? Now, if you have too much fatty stuff in there, you eat a lot of fatty stuff, fatty food, you're going to build up a lot of fatty stuff in your cell, and this fatty stuff, what it's going to do is You're going to go through the red color or the gate there, and it's going to block the keyhole. Okay? When it blocks the keyhole, now when you eat food with high sugar, the sugar triggers a pancreas to produce insulin. Your insulin comes along. You try to open the lock. It was blocked by the gluey stuff, by the chewing gum. And so when insulin cannot do that, that means glucose cannot come into your cell. Your glucose will be floating around. That's where you get high blood glucose. Make sense? So it's not only, of course, by taking a lot of sugar, it's going to do you harm too. But it's the fat that is the culprit there. So if you can minimize your fat intake, stay away as much as you can, it will help you reverse your diabetes. If you have diabetes type 2, it will help you reverse. So it can be done. G-bombs. I talk about G-bombs. So, what's your name? Albert. Okay, Albert. So for me, to remember, I tell myself what I can eat, what I cannot eat. When I look at a food, and the food shows me these are all G-bomb, I can eat. If the food that shows me has high SOS, I don't eat. If the food shows that has a mother on the face, I don't eat. Okay? Now, when I was taking my food in the potluck, Pastor told me, take picture. And I did. I took some picture. Okay? Some of the food I noticed is very oily. Okay? If you want to cook, you can cook without oil. So 2.5 years ago, I learned how to cook without oil. My wife bought me a non-stick pan with copper. We have vegetable oil. We just throw them away. I use water as my oil to cook my vegetable, or I steam my vegetables. And if you want your pisang goreng, okay, and you buy this what you call the air fryer. Have you heard of air fryer? You make lumpia with it, it's just as good. You just need to try it. So I learned how to fry things without oil. I learned how to cook without oil, and it become crispy. And 2.5 years ago, it cost a bit more, but now it's much cheaper. You can buy from Costco. Costco. So my diet, if you want to be on the right track, on a healthy road lifestyle, you want to change something, think about G-bomb, think about SOS. When you see a food, you ask yourself this question: is this a G-bomb diet or is this a SOS diet? And you can figure that out. Then I can tell you that you are on the right track. You are working to improve yourself. And if you eat less meat, look at the cow. The cows are happy. The pigs are happy. The lambs are happy. I used to cook a lot of lamb. Soup kambing. Soup kambing. Kambing, yeah. Yeah. And all these animals will thank you for it. There's another aspect, that if you study how they slaughter the animals, it's very cruel. Where? I don't see any elephant. There's no elephant. Oh, brother Albert, you need to eat G-bomb so eyesight can be better. So you can see better. Okay? All right. We have about 20 more minutes. Any question for me? I will try and answer for you. Yeah.
They're selling supplement omega-3, 6, and 9. Is that good to take?
Okay. Question is omega-6, 3, and 9. Okay. Now, what did God say? Right? Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. I provide you food, the seeds of all this. God, when God created us, He has a plan with all these multivitamins, everything. We do not need to take medications, okay? Medications are just people trying to make money out of us. It's their interest. Yeah? The only medication, the only supplement you need to take is vitamin B12. B12. Because B12 comes from animal. Actually, it does not come from the cow. It comes from bacteria from the soil. So when the cow eat the grass, they eat the soil, the vitamin B12 goes into their system, and when we eat them, we have the B12. So if you do not want to eat the cow to get B12, if you do not want to buy the supplement B12, then I recommend that you plant carrots, you pull out from the grass, don't wash it, just eat it, you get your B12.
Sorry. Okay. I heard about B12, and I asked somebody that expert in vitamins. They said you only need 50 to 100 milligrams. And if you take multivitamins that has B12 that much, that's enough. Is that right?
Well, when you take vitamin B12, okay, I take 500 milligrams, micrograms. It's one small tablet you put underneath your tongue. You don't need anything else. You don't need any other vitamins at all. No more vitamin. No, you don't need that. Why? You see, okay, let me recommend you something here. When you go to the bookstore, you buy books to learn how to eat right, and then at the end they say, well, I have this product to sell. Conflicts of interest. When you read the studies of literature that have been published in the health community, don't take the word for it. Same thing like when we read the Bible, Bible says you need to compare verses with verses. When you read published scientific articles that's out there, read the fine print at the end of the conclusion, who sponsored that studies. If they say eggs is good, I can guarantee you the sponsor is egg industries. Guarantee you, we will say that. Okay? So, I have written a book, I read a book by this lady, nutritionist, talk about fiber. He said, if you don't like to eat vegetable, no problem. I have a product to sell you. How many of you know Dr. Stephen Gandhi? Have you heard of him? What did he write? A book? He wrote a book, right? He wrote a book called Plant Paradox. He's an open heart surgeon in Loma Linda University for more than 10 years when I was working there. And he works with Dr. Bailey. How many of you know Dr. Leonard Bailey? He just passed away. He just passed away a couple of weeks ago. And Dr. Leonard Bailey is actually put Loma Linda in the map of the world. Now, Dr. Stephen Gandhi have left the institution and opened his own health center. Yeah? He talks about tomato is no good for you. He talks about a lot of food that we eat is no good for you. You thought I'm telling you about plant-based is okay. I mean, it's already difficult. No, you cannot eat tomatoes. You cannot. He has a reason for that. So then he thought, by the way, I have an answer for that. I do sell supplement. Anytime when you have physician or author of books that write something like that, stay away from it. They have conflicts of interest. They are selling things to you. If you want to read good books, okay, I highly recommend that you read Dr. Esselstyn. Dr. Esselstyn and Dr. T. Campbell, they both grew up in a cow farm business. They're both expert doctors. Dr. Joe Furman, Dr. Neil Burnett, Dr. McDougall's. You read these books from these 7 doctors, you will never go wrong. Because they have no interest in selling anything. They are interested in educating the people. Yeah. I mean, they all try to sell something to you. See. Any other question?
Yes, I have a question about milk. Oh, I mean, we were told, I mean, this is what we know. In order for your kids to grow taller, they need to drink a lot of milk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you say about this one? I mean,
okay. Milk has growth hormone. Milk has a protein called casein. Casein is very bad for human consumption. Now, when milk has quite high cholesterol, when you drink milk, let me back up. when a baby is born, it's better to breastfeed the baby than let the baby drink a glass of milk through a straw or whatever. Because when milk exposed to air, oxygen, it oxidizes and it becomes bad milk already. But if the baby sucks the milk from the mother's breast and the milk does not expose to air, that's okay. Right? Now, milk, God created milk for the mothers to feed the young. Once we reach a certain age, we should be weaned away from milk. We should not touch milk anymore. Because there's growth hormone. Don't forget, if you have growth hormone, okay, growth hormones can also stir up cancer cells to grow. So we just need to watch. Because milk serves no purpose except to let the infant or human being and animals to grow.
Okay, I guess, we have a few boxes cereal in our home. We have to throw it away, huh? Because, they have to eat that with milk, right?
Well, the choice is yours. Yeah. Because you see, yeah, you use almond milk. Yesterday, a friend of mine, I eat my oatmeal with no milk. I was just plain. And this friend of mine brought me OAT, oat milk. And it tastes very good. So, see, when I changed to become a plant-based diet, there's a lot of things in my pantry, in my refrigerator, I have to throw it away. Because I don't eat, I know it's bad, I shouldn't give it to someone else to eat. Yeah, this is no good for me. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine, actually my church pastor's wife, every weekend, every Sabbath, we cannot understand why she bring a whole bowl of egg yolk. Whole bowl of egg yolk, maybe like 60 egg yolk. We say, why do you bring the egg yolk to the church? Oh, I give the white to my husband. These are no good. I give the yolk. Thanks a lot, it's no good, but it's for us, it's good. So my suggestion, if you have like 20 boxes, then you got to figure what you do. If just a few boxes, I would rather throw it away.
Yes, well, one more question. Vitamin D. We are taking vitamin D. For some reason, I guess, I don't know how long we stay outside. We don't get it when they check the blood test. Our vitamin D is always low.
Yeah.
So what do you say about that?
Well, vitamin D, you can actually get also from food too. You see? Yeah. There's a book that I recommend you to buy called Becoming Vegan. Okay? Becoming Vegan is a book that you can read for information. You do not need to be a vegan, but there's a lot of information about vitamins that you think you're lacking of, you can actually get from food. Okay, interesting. You didn't ask me this question about milk. Where do I get my calcium? Right? Calciums are found in food products too. Yeah, calcium. Same thing. The next question I get asked a lot, where do I get my proteins? If I don't eat meat, where do I get my proteins? And I always answer that question with another question. What's that? No. Where do you get your proteins if you don't eat animal meat? So my question to that question is, where do the cow get the proteins? From the grass, right? Where do the elephant get the proteins? Elephant got no teeth. God created animals is not to eat meat, to eat plants. You read Genesis, God has all this planned out. Right? When do you think meat was introduced in the Bible? After the flood. Actually, it's before the flood. Before the flood. It did not say in that, okay? Remember, Adam and Eve, when Adam and Eve sinned, they got chased out from the Garden of Eden. What do they wear? They wear skin. God gave them skin. So man has been so defiled against God. I'm sure at that time they start learning how to eat meat. So it's before the flood. So our original plan of diet is all plant food. It's only thing that we are so disobedient, being the children of God. You know, like I said this morning, I've been looking for God, seeking God, trusting God, but obedience, I'm not very good. But I turn around. I need to listen to Him. He used me as His messenger. I cannot put everybody down. Because after when I go and eat, fortunately, I still have a lot of friends. When I go and visit in a house or they bring me out to eat, they always take me into consideration. They say, oh, this is make sure more, no, I mean, a lot of vegetables. Now, when I go and eat in a restaurant, okay, restaurant has a lot of oily food. What I do is I talk to the waiter. I say, can I talk to your cook? And I will tell them, I say, can you please tell your cook, I'm a heart disease patient. I enjoy your food. You put them on a guilty trip, you know. I'm a heart disease patient. I enjoy your food, but the doctor tells me I cannot take too much oil. Can you please cook it with the oil? I say, if you want to cook with oil, how much do you use? He said, I use 2 tablespoons. I say, can you use half a teaspoon? Now, if I don't eat out all the time, half a teaspoon should be okay, but not all the time. Now, when you go to a Vietnamese restaurant, I always order vegetable soup, okay? Pho. When you order vegetable soup, you need to ask them, what kind of broth do you use? What base? If not, they use chicken or they use beef. Yeah. And they will bend backward to accommodate you because they want you to be the return customer. So today, when I traveled, last week I was in Oakland, California. I went to several vegan restaurants, and they're very good. But I watched the oil. I watched the fried things that deep fry. Okay, so G-bombs, and no face, no mother, and no SOS. Any question?
Okay. I think I heard that you saying that we can drink almond milk. But what I saw from there, that almond itself, it contains extremely high in omega-6, which is not good for our body. So what do you think about that?
Yeah.
That's number one question.
Correct.
Okay.
So you have to make the choices here. You know? If you are eating, you see, if you are drinking the omega-6, just almond, and you are not taking other food that's high in omega-6, then you should be okay. You know, I'm not saying that you need to totally avoid omega-6, because there is a study in the Mediterranean. They find that these vegetarian people, why they die heart attack? Because let's say they drink almond milk, then they eat this food with sunflower seed. It adds up, you see. Huh? So like for me, I've been a vegan for 2.5 years, and I love to go on cruises. Every time when I go cruises, my wife, the first day, as soon as we step in the boat, she said, let's go for ice cream. I follow her. I don't want this. I had ice cream myself too. But make sure I don't eat again and again and again. You know? Because I want to keep her company, I just ate one. You see? But then the next 7 days, I don't eat ice cream. Yes?
A lot of vegetarian, when they start to become vegetarian, they eat gluten. What do you think about gluten?
Okay, my question to you.
Gluten.
My question, is that gluten processed? Yes. So it's not good. So you ask yourself this question. See, like just now, I think your food, Paula, there's some gluten in there, right? Yeah. See, when I go and eat with friends, I don't want to be picky. Because when they serve food, if there's any meat on it, I tell everybody, don't touch it first. Let me pick my food first. So I pick up the food that's away from the meat. But again, I eat that once in 3-4 weeks, because I don't want to dampen the fellowship. Then they won't invite me to go out. You know, and that's very true, because people say, "Oh, this guy is a vegan." You see, I get a little bit disappointed when I go to church potluck. I hear some people come to the potluck table. I'm a vegan. What do you have here? I can't eat this. I'm a vegan. You don't do that. You know, you don't do that. You know, don't say yourself a vegan that you're much holier than the other person. No, don't do that. You just go and ask, what is this? Oh, okay. Then move on to that. If you think you can eat, don't eat. You know, be more, because it's very important that we must portray our love to our fellow men. We don't become across as I'm better than you. Then you're going to turn people off. You see. Huh? And so every time when I go to friends' house, they always think of me. They say, brother, this section I know you can eat. This one has this. So that's how the way to approach it. You don't want to put people down. When somebody is down, the only thing I did is I stretch my hand to pull the person up rather than put the person down. See? Okay? So we have to be very careful how we present ourselves because like I say in the past, we always say, I don't drink, I don't go movies, I don't watch TV, and we are known as the don't people. I remember in the early days when I came to the United States, I went to Oakland, California. I was wearing a sweatshirt that says Loma Linda University. And I was waiting for my train to come. There's an elderly black lady. Oh, you're from Loma Linda. You're the one that don't do this, don't do that, don't. I said, no. They don't do it, but I do it. You see? So, and then I was able to spend some time to explain to her, Loma Linda is considered a blue zone, and to be a blue zone, this is what we do. You see? You want to come across the people that you don't know as positive as much as you can. Okay, another question?
Yes, two questions. Question number one is, how soon can we start vegetarian diet or vegan diet to children? And number two is tofu a processed food, yes or no?
Tofu is a processed food, okay? Tofu, you prepare your own, is great, if you know how to do it. Because in our church, we have a lot of people know how to make tofu. Because then you know what kind of chemicals you put in. You know, yeah, so tofu, they use, I think, a product called not GMO, Jimsum or something like that. And that Jimsum is actually something to coagulate the wall they use, the whitewash, to make them stick together. So if you process yourself, so again, tofu comes from where? Soy, right? Soy is whole food, tofu is processed. Yeah? So it's very easy to make tofu. Yeah, a friend of mine told me one time, they have to use vinegar to coagulate the tofu. You buy the soya beans, you soak it, then you blend it, press out the juice, then you add some vinegar to coagulate it. Then you press it. Okay? So the key is that you just got to be a bit more aware of food surrounding. Once you can do that, you'll be very much alert and selective. But the most important thing that I want you to take home today is learn to read the labels. Labels are very deceiving. Okay, I was at Trader Joe's the other day, and I saw it says vegan cheese, vegan cream cheese. When you read the ingredient, it's no longer vegan. Yeah, it's right side. Well, because the marketing, they and even when you look at the label, it says total fat so many grams, saturated fat so many grams, trans fat 0. Sounds pretty good. The USDA has approved if they use trans fat 0.5%, they can put trans fat 0. Read the label and read the ingredients. If the ingredient says hydrogenated fat has been used, that's trans fat. Hydrogenated fat means they add hydrogen into the vegetable oil to make it trans fat. Trans fat will preserve your food much longer. Your second question? Oh. Well, when your children is able to eat solid food, of course, when drinking milk, don't give them, when they're, you see, it's very important to start them young, even, Mrs. White says that you want to train them young. And you see, unfortunately, I have a grandson. My grandson, my son told me, Dad, don't give him sugar too much. Don't give him too much salt. But I noticed my son gave him too much cheese and milk, and chips, correct. So the earlier you train them, the better. My grandson is only 5 years old. The other day I went out with him to eat at biology. Biology, he loves to go biology. And so what I did was I ordered my pie, the crust is made of cauliflowers. Cauliflowers, okay? And I tell them no oil, no cheese, just some tomato sauce and put all the vegetables. So after we had biology, we were on the way home. And I stopped at Subway. You buy one, you get one free. I love that kind of sales stuff. So I went there to order my veggie delight. Okay, with no dressing, just no cheese, nothing. And so I went back to the car and we started heading home. Then the car passed by my son's house. My grandson asked, Daddy, you go the wrong way. Then my son said, no, we got to send Grandpa home first. Oh, then the grandson looked at me, Grandpa, you can walk home. I said, why? Good exercise for you. So he knows exercise is good. So I need to train him to eat right. You know? So train your children as early as they can eat is better, because then they will develop a taste. They will not be adulterated with all these standard American diet. You see, standard American diet, I mentioned earlier, are the three most damaging ingredients: salt, sugar, and fat. And when you see this industry move to China, Hong Kong, people are getting obese. So stay away from these three ingredients as much as you can. If you'll be much happier, much healthier. And why do I say we need to go on plant-based diet? People ask me, they compliment me that I still look very young. I said, thank you very much. And I said, the secret of the youth, of fountain of youth, is found in the book of Daniel chapter 1. Go back and read Daniel chapter 1. It's called the 10 days diet. So today, when we have health seminar, we always teach people how to go on a 10 days diet. You'll be much better. So I'm not going to tell you what's in the content. I want you to go back and read Daniel chapter 1. Okay? Any question?
Yeah.
Last question. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. Tay, for all the information that most of them I do not know, or I may know, but just ignore. And in this meeting, I would like to tell the ladies that cook for us for the potluck. You and I can taste the food, they are good, but not only the oil, the SOS, the salt, especially when we cook noodles. We thought noodles is not salty, but actually it's already salty. Then when we cook, we add some more salt. And we that eat less salt at home, when we come here to eat noodles in the church, we cannot eat anymore because it's too salty. The soup, too salty. So maybe we have to learn how to reduce putting salt into our food. Yeah, for all of the church members to consume every Sabbath.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's not a question. It's just
Comments, yeah.
comments,
Very good,
yeah.
yeah. And again, is that the food, when you want to add salt, don't add salt into your food. Sprinkle as needed to your taste. That's okay, you know. Because for me, I given out salt, and I don't take anything as sugar, salty, or oil. It can be done. And for you, for any of you who wants to learn how to do this, I can teach you how to do what I call baby steps. There are ways to do it. Okay? Like for me, fortunately, God gave me the energy and the strength to do this cold turkey. But if you cannot, I have many of my friends, I teach them baby steps. And every time when they succeed, okay, when they do the baby steps, they succeed, they'll come look for me. Hey, Terence, I did it, da. If I don't hear from them for the next 3 months, I know they backslided. So, but I encourage them. I say, it's okay. You fall, you realize it, get up, and continue. Just like the prodigal sons, right? Don't just stand there and cry over spilled milk and moan and just get up and continue. Right? Okay? Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Praise the Lord and thank you. And eat healthy and stay healthy, okay?